this week's message to my readers is about the book. You know, what's your book about, Minnie? Is it about the Dr. Phil show? Is it about an autobiography? What is it about? I'm supposed to be writing a proposal for my publisher that is going to say what the book is about. But let me just give you a little brief synopsis. So you all know about what happened in my life with my teenager who attempted suicide. And then it was subsequently aired on the Phil show. Dr. Phil show. And then my children were removed from my home. And that was just a long journey. But it's not going to be like chronicling much of that. I'm really not going to go into details about my experience on the show, I don't believe. But this is how I explain it when I was explaining it to someone. I went to a support group once, and I met this woman there. And she explained to me that she felt that her mother never loved her. And I'm like, wow, this is interesting, because I feel like my children have, not my children, well, my son who attempted to kill himself felt the same way. And so I delved more into her story, and I'm like, well, why do you think that? I too suffered from that as a child, thinking my mom hated me and she didn't love me at all, but I knew that deep down that she did. And so this woman goes on and says, well, I had this sister and I had this brother, and I just feel like I was the rejected child, that my mom had favorites. She just never understood me. And we just have this horrible relationship. And I'm thinking, that's so sad. And then I just started talking to her about things I had learned over the course of losing my children, and my effect as a mother on their psyche, their emotional well-being. And I explained, well, maybe she had a lot of things going on that you just didn't know, that prevented her from being able to love you the way that you deserve to be loved. Love is an action. I like to think of it that way. It's more important that you show the love in your actions for someone, and then in just telling them that you love them. And I just explained to her, I had a lot of things going on in my marriage. My husband put a gun to my head, a loaded gun, and I thought he was going to kill me. And my children never knew this. My son, who tried to kill himself, didn't understand that I was in a very violently abusive relationship with his stepfather. He never knew all of those details. He didn't know that my husband tied me up and hog-tied me up, put a gun to my head and a sock in my mouth, and left me in a dark room for hours. I never told that to my child, who was 7 at the time. So I explained to her, maybe your mother was suffering from depression or whatever it is, but that she just could not find it in herself to give you the love that you needed for a reason that's separate and apart from you. Maybe she just couldn't. She couldn't. And so it's kind of like we had this conversation, and a light bulb went on with her. I don't know, maybe she just started putting the pieces together, and she said, you know what, I've been waiting years for the answer to a question that you just answered. And I don't know, go more about this in the book. But working title, is kind of based on that, of basically a lot of questions sometimes that people have as an adult on their parents and the way that their parents parented, and sometimes as a child, because children are a little narcissists, because they think the world revolves around them, because they don't understand it. They think, well, my mom or my dad don't love me, they don't understand me, and it must be my fault. But it's not your fault. And even if you're an adult right now and you don't have a good relationship with your parent, it is possibly a lot of their garbage from their own childhood, unresolved issues that are preventing them from being that parent that you need, and from loving you the way that you deserve and want to be loved. So honestly, I go with it. I'm like, it's your parent, I'm sure, loves you, definitely love you. They just cannot provide that in an action-oriented way to show you, and that's their garbage, not yours. You can make it your garbage by continuing to believe it's something in you that's undesirable and unlovable, but that's not true. So anyway, that's kind of what the book's about. And I got to get back to that proposal. I got to write that down. So stay tuned. I'll be sharing some things with you guys in the upcoming months, and as soon as that book's out, hope you'll buy it, hope you'll read it. And until next time, see you soon.